good evening, or morning, or night, whatever, my adopted children, and welcome back to the crappiest show on the internet. On my mission to not make this a Doom channel, I decide to make a video on another horror character, but this time it is a manga slasher girl from a gory manga with an amazing scanlation from Chillox. This manga is brutal, stupid, dark, excessively violent, offensive, and schlocky. Or in other words, it is the best manga. It is perfect for me. In other words, this manga is perfect for me, and I love it to death, and hell and back. If you don't like that sort of thing, this video isn't for you. For the ones that can't stomach that, today's video is going to be on the weirdly cute Naoko Kirino, the Invincible Pumpkin Knight from Pumpkin Knight. This isn't gonna be a complicated video with crazy feats or hacks, unlike the last two characters that have appeared on this channel. I feel like this is gonna be one of the more straightforward videos I've made, or the most straightforward videos so far. Like when it comes to Naoko's physicals, with powers it gets more nutty, but nothing in comparison to the last guy. Again, before I start, don't continue if you can't handle gore. This manga is like this. A lot of fucked up and shocking things happen to the human body in this manga, and I'm not kidding. This is like Terrifier and Postal levels of gore. This not fucking manga. Fuck. Okay.
This mango is very gory.
Fucking shut up. Obviously, this video will contain spoilers. Obviously, if you don't mind violence or spoilers, let us begin. With speed, Naoko has a solid line of superhuman level speed feats. She consistently blitzes humans, attacking and or moving before they can react. For starters, she attacked both of Saki's parents before either of them could react, and also dodged an attack from the father easily, completely escaping from his vision. Later on in the manga, she outmaneuvered and made an absolute joke out of a group of Yakuza members, trained hardened criminals. She was also able to easily dodge all of Babyface's punches, who he himself described as superhuman, and speed blitzed several grown men. Naoko herself is described as having astonishing, sto- astounding physical abilities. So with that, you can scale her to other characters in the series, like her lover, Kazuha Makino, who is able to dodge cars. Naoko also rushed and smashed Saki's nose before she could react, despite literally being in front of her. She tends to do that. Tends to be able to just speed blitz humans even when they're looking dead at her. You could possibly argue this to be subsonic, but superhuman is the safer overall bet. Now for the AP scaling. For with Naoko, the blunt end, despite her small and petite physicality and appearance, she has consistently shown street level feats and has some wall level scaling. She has quite a lot of scaling for both of those here, so I'm just going to go over the major ones that I can find calcs for. So, without scaling to any other characters, with the blunt end of her knife, she smashed Saki's nose, completely flattening it. To do this, this requires 241 joules to 815 joules. She destroyed a windshield with a thin pipe, which would be worth 9,313 joules, street level plus. I vaguely remember a calc on this that turned out to be wall level, but I wasn't able to find it. She killed Saki's parents brutally, decapitating both of them with syringes. Yes, you heard me. Syringes. Needles. To slash a human head off like this would require 616 joules, but in Naoko's case, in in her case, it probably would be even higher, considering that she just did this with a handful of needles, which are absolutely tiny. The father, before being killed, also accidentally caved in the skull of his wife with a chair, so there is that too. Uh, Naoko Kirino, with the same pipe used to shatter the aforementioned windshield, launched said pipe through a woman's head. She similarly does this feat later on by throwing part of a IV pole through a man's skull. As showcased before, she soloed a bunch of Yakuza thugs, making a joke out of trained hardened assassins, but she also killed one by slashing the head off from the jaw, which would be roughly also around 616 joules. In a single punch, she crushed a metal control panel door, and a dude's fingers. To break human bone requires at least 375 joules. On and on and on. Pretty sure you get the point. The scaling gets more robust when you include scaling to other characters. She is she is a physical threat to Naruto and once knocked him out with a cinder block. Naruto has this one feat of him surviving a gas cylinder exploding on him, practically at point blank range. Both him and his father were both enveloped by the fiery explosion, but only Naruto came out alive as his father burned to death. And Naruto came out physically unharmed, save for some minor fire damage to his clothes. The durability to require to tank fire, to tank being covered in fire like this would be 26 kilojoules, if I remember correctly, aka wall level. As said before, she is said to have astonishing astonishing physical capabilities. This would make her comparable to, if not superior to, various characters throughout the series, notably her lover, Kazuha, and a policewoman named Haya, however. Kazuha was able to crack open Naruto's skull with a blunt end of a knife, and later on slashed his head off. He also claims that he could crush Naruto's head. This is actually backed up with Haya, who is scared of him and believes that she needs his strength to beat Naruto to avenge his father, implying that he is stronger than her. Haya was able to flatten the backside of a dude's skull with a suplex. Alongside this, Haya also survived being hit by a speeding car, albeit she was knocked out afterwards. The force of the car depends on the speed, and with that, it would vary from 3,990 joules or 31,285 joules, which is pretty insane. I could go over Kazuha's feats in recent chapters. As I'm making this, chapter 66 came out a couple days ago. He seemingly tears off a dude's head, but we don't know for certain, so I'm just going to go over certain feats that we know of. Speaking of which, let's go over the best feats of Naoko, her encounter with Babyface. Very, very late into the story, Naoko Kirino endures and survives a beating from Babyface. For reference, a single punch from Babyface not only destroyed a dude's skull, but sent the remains flying along with the rest of his spine, which it then crashed into another guy's skull, also destroying it. Nullflowerblush on Versus Battles Wiki did a calculation on this, and it came out to be worth 177 kilojoules. And right after that, Babyface then proceeds to crush the two skulls of two men at once. On Versus Battles Wiki, there has been some contention on how strong skull crushing is. The calc that had been used for years turned out to be wrong, or just been disapproved of by Wokistan. And there had been a number of recalcs on skull crushing, ranging from 4 kilojoules to 54 kilojoules. As it stands now, it's too early to say that is just street level or anything definitive, so it could still possibly be wall level. But regardless of that, Naoko Kirino endured a merciless, savage beating from a man whose individual punches are worth 177 kilojoules. While on top of this, while Naoko was experiencing pain from this beating, she came out mostly unharmed, completely intact even. So it would take away. So logically, it would take way more force to actually damage and break her. On top of this, she she was hugged by Babyface twice in the manga and was completely fine. A hug from Babyface reduced a person to a bloody mess, just completely eviscerating them along with breaking their arm off. This was this was done by Babyface by complete mistake, and this and his other feats were done pretty easily. So this is not this. You could say that this isn't the cap of his power. As for other feats of Babyface, Babyface tore through a prison door. So him being wall level and in return Naoko being wall level is pretty consistent. Naoko is able to harm those who harm her, so her AP would be around the same level as her durability. So a 9-C into a 9-B Naoko Kirino is very consistent, pretty damn blatant too. Even ignoring the babyface scaling, even while ignoring the babyface scaling, this is to be expected since she is based on classic slashers like Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers, superhuman dudes that can kill people in brutal ways with the most unconventional weaponry. She isn't just strength and bloodlust, however, as she has some powers to go along with it. Across the series, it is made clear that she has immense willpower, with it being compared to an invincible demon. This not only allows her to push through practically everything that other characters in the series have thrown at her, this effectively gives her Type 2 and Type 4 immortality, being able to survive wounds that the average human would die to or come back from the dead to continue her killing spree. I have two examples of this. One, early on in the series, after killing Saki, she slashed her body to hell and back with scalpels, including her face. A normal human would definitely die from this, bleeding out to be specific, but Naoko not only survived, stated that she is used to this level of pain, but but not too long after that, she kills Saki's parents with no struggle. The second showing of this is when she survived being thrown 20 feet onto rebar poles, skewing her, puncturing several organs, including her lungs, and fractured multiple bones. Then, after this, she was buried on the ground for 4 days, which ended up killing her due to a lack of due to suffocation. But she managed to come back from the dead and broke free from her grave. This encounter with death also seemed to give her other powers. Notably, her power to convert pain into power, into strength. While this isn't outright confirmed, Miss Kuroki, a doctor, concluded that she has the power to convert pain, hence her great endurance. Assuming this is true, while this isn't a hex, this would be a useful power to have in a fight, since as the fight goes on, the more pain she will experience, making her even stronger and stronger than she was before. So this is kind of the power where, like, if you don't kill her immediately, she'll just eventually surpass you. Very useful power. Also, after her resurrection, she gains the ability to communicate with the dead in some form of telepathy. After her resurrection, she became the messenger of the dead, growing in contact with the deceased, which she avenges by killing the ones they still hold grudges with. This is even shown in action with her identifying Babyface as Shungu, his real name, a feat that wouldn't have been possible without learning it from his deceased mom. In fight, this can be used as a form of info gathering, being able to gain more and more information on her opponent through the dead associated with him, as seen with her learning Babyface's name through his deceased mother. On top of her physical stats and supernatural powers, she is quite fit and athletic. In her engagements in battle, she moves quite gracefully and quickly, allowing her to outmaneuver police officers, Yakuza thugs, and even superhuman characters like Babyface. This, along with her ferocious bloodlust, immense willpower, and expertise in weaponry of all sorts, makes her a dangerous opponent to fight despite not being an Omega multiversal buster or a doll of godlike power. A true spiritual successor to the likes of Michael Myers, I do say so myself. I hope I gave Naoko Kirino justice here. Pumpkin might Pumpkin Night might ironically be my favorite manga series, and I'm happy that despite how underrated it is still coming out with new chapters. If this video made you interested in the verse, a link to the entire series will be linked below. That is now getting chapters once every 2 weeks if the results on Google that I got were correct. If you want to see everything Naoka Kirino has to offer, well, so far at least, Nullflowerblush is making these blogs on both Naoko and Kazuha. They will also be linked in the description along with all the calcs I referenced in this video. That is it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, I recommend checking out my other videos, my other Powerscaling videos. If you enjoy the terrible slideshows I make, feel free to hit the subscribe to smother the button like how you would with an unwanted child. Fun fact: this video was going to be a collab of Tomusi, that that a content mod on the Versus Battle Wiki. The collab was going to be Jiff the Killer versus Naoko, but that didn't go through since it was a big stomp in Naoko Kirino's favor. So, yeah, toodles.